let's move on to the last race before we wrap up the show, and what a race to wrap it up on. Of course, Animal Kingdom won this last year for the Yanks. Their entry this year is Ron the Greek, I think, if I'm right. Yeah, Ron the Greek for the Americans, a bigger price than Animal Kingdom was, of course. We're not expecting an American repeat here, are we, Adam?
No. I don't know. I don't think so.
What's that?
I'm just looking because you said American, and I was sure there was not an American horse in here. That's not American. What's KSA stand for?
He's been bought.
Wrong.
Okay, sorry, he is American, forget it. I don't know what country you're talking about. But Rule of the World, I can't have him at all. Like, obviously he's drifted massively. He's got the form there, but Aidan O'Brien has sent over the likes of So You Think, Kate Blanco. He's better horses in my eyes than Rule of the World, and I think on the surface he's just going to struggle. So, and as well, drawn in 12, I'd be laying Rule of the World all day, to be honest.
So we really like the Mars each way in the race before, but then can't fathom a way of why we should back Rule of the World. You clearly smashed him to pieces in the Epsom Derby.
Yeah,
strange decision, Adam.
I know, but it's surface. You know, the Mars race on turf, it's the different surfaces to Petr. Like, there's been some massive outsiders win this Dubai World Cup, so to look something completely left field, you know, it wouldn't be the stupidest decision, but at the minute, it's deciding what that stupid decision is going to be.
Just in your defence,
yeah.
Ruler of the World.
Come on, what's this?
No, Ruler of the World back to 1.2 miles, whereas the Derby was 1.5 miles, and then Mars is over 1.5 miles. So I suppose that's a little different. The horse I've gone for in this is Red Cadeau. He's 25 to 1, outside of not outside of the whole lot, but he's a massive each way price. He was second best of the rest last year to Animal Kingdom. I don't think there's an Animal Kingdom in the race this year, and I think he's huge at that price.
Hugh Taylor has actually put him up on the At the Races website as well.
Well, I didn't see it there.
Cadeau, so, you know, Hugh's a fairly good judge. He knows what he's on about.
And a big price as well.
Yeah.
Prince Bishop, Kieran Fallon on. We've been singing Fallon's praises, and I think Prince Bishop's he's on a roll, back-to-back wins, comes into the third race. Of course, the one thing that everyone's going to say, oh, it's a complete different class. You know, it's Group 1, but no doubt must have a chance, and good odds around 11 to 1. Declan, your selection, sort of a couple in this race that you like?
I thought this had there was more question marks about nearly everything in this race. Prince Bishop, I had question mark good enough beside him. Akeed Mofid, will he go on the surface? African Story over the trip. Hillstar, will he go on the surface? Military at Track, will he go on the surface? Rule of the World, Poor Draw and the surface. So, you know, I think it's run on to Peter.
You've got to be hoping to change the surface.
So what I'm looking for is a horse who goes on to
the
Peter.
Surface.
Exactly. Well, look, you see, who's won this race cup? Like Monty Rosso's won this race before. He acted on this surface before anything else. He came back then to Europe and just was lapped by horses in decent races.
Who's acting on the surface then?
The two that I want to be with here are the Mike de Cocktrain number 5, which is Chansoui, and the number 6 horse, the Godolphins, African Story.
Okay.
Both of them have won on the surface. I have a small doubts about the trip about African Story, but he was beaten favourite last time out, supposedly banged his head coming out of the stalls and finished a little bit lame. But was beaten by Prince Bishop, I think, that day. I would Dutch the two of those at 14 and 12 to 1.
Okay, I'll take that as your selection, then the African Story and also the De Kock, and so with Sumi on board there. Just before we get the other two to wrap up your selections, going to shoot over to Luke Elder. Hopefully we can get some latest odds on what is really not only the most valuable race of the day, but surely the one that the punters are going to get stuck into, or not. Is there not much movement, Luke? Give us the updates, please.
All the movements seem to be before today. Everyone wants to be with Military Attack. As I said earlier, it was 9 to 1 a couple of days ago. It's now 5 to 1. There's not really much else being backed in the field. Red Cadeau is into 20 to 1. Obviously second in the race last year, but I think that was a much weaker renewal. Animal Kingdom won it, but then I don't think any horse has come out of that race and won since that race. Obviously Animal Kingdom flopped at Royal Ascot, but looking through them, there's nothing else being backed. The one I take is Mukadram. Obviously he's got a poor draw, but there's not a lot of pace on. If he can get to the front from that draw and slow things right down, Paul Hannigan's an absolute genius from the front, and 16 to 1 looks a fair price about him.
Okay, well, Mukadram is the selection of the each-way selection, at least, of Luke Elden. As I said, I did fancy it, but he's going to have to get out quickly, and Hannigan's really going to have to do the steering early on from the wide draw. Let's wrap this up and get your two selections, Adam.
I'm actually going to go with Mukadram as well. I know I've been slating horses from wide draws all afternoon/morning, but like I said, if nothing really wants to go on and he can get out, I think he could have a good chance here.
Okay, and yourself, Jimmy?
I'll have my 75p each way on Red Cadeau.
Right, okay. In fact, another person who did like Red Cadeau was our resident posh boy, John O'Henwood Ross. He gave Red Cadeau as his selection on Thursday night, despite the fact that the feature of that, of course, was the Aintree Grand National being held next week, where we'll have our live show in the morning to preview that as well.